Hi there everybody, it's Rarity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. We're using the Thoughtful Wishes bundle today. Okay, lovely stamp set with some cute sentiments to go along with it. This is the most amazing die set ever. I love this one. Most of the images, there's only really these two, the one that I'm using and this one, that coordinate with the actual images themselves. Everything else is pretty much a standalone. So if you really liked the die set, there's only actually two that you'd be, you wouldn't necessarily be able to use on their own, kind of thing. But a great set nonetheless. Okay, so that's Thoughtful Wishes. We're going to be using this Everyday Details. This is an online exclusive. You get rectangles and circles in here, and you get this lovely dot detail on there. Okay, so we're just pulling out one of the rectangles to cut our sentiment panel. So we're going for something really nice and clean and simple today. There isn't a lot of layering on here, and there are no dimensionals. Everyone can just fall, if you've fallen off your seat, you can sit back up again. No dimensionals on this card. Okay, so this used the Regal's colours, so we've got Old Olive and Crushed Curry there for that sort of organic kind of look, if you like. Okay, and then I just put on some gold sequins just to match there. Okay, we're going to switch out and use some of the neutrals for this one. So my green is going to be Mossy Meadow. So we're going to cut that dotty die from that. Okay, just grab some tape and we'll just get that ready so that we're ready to go with that. And I'm going to use Blackberry Bliss as my card base. So both of those are in the neutrals cardstock collections. Okay. Just to keep it within a colour family, just in terms of items you need to make something similar. Of course, you mix and match, you use whatever colours you like. Okay, I've decided to coordinate the frame with the leaf colour that I'm using. Okay, so we're going to stamp this this foliage sort of stamp. Okay. And I'm trying a new tip that was shared by I want to say it was from an American demo actually, but I've seen it shared a couple of times. That not everyone likes using the felt memento ink pad, and prefer the foam from the Stampin' Up pads, and the tip was to use one of the uninked craft ink pads. So this comes uninked with a white Stampin' Up refill, because it's a pigment ink and it will dry out, so you kind of use it every time. But I don't really use it a lot, and if I was going to use it, I'd probably use it for splatter or something like that. So I've decided to give it a go, and the worst that's going to happen is that I need to get another one. Okay, so so this gives me black ink, that it's Memento black ink, but on a sponge rather than on a felt ink pad. Okay, so I'm just trying it out, just see how I get on with it. Okay. So that's what I'm doing with that, in case you were wondering which ink pad that was. And so to coordinate with the layering, we're going to use the Mossy Meadow blends. Okay, and we're just colouring one half of the each leaf, and some of these other ones, but not all, so that we get some variegation on those leaves. It's a very dark colour. Okay, so again, you know, you might decide to do this differently, but this is a really simple way to get some dimension out of this. And sometimes the colours are very close together. Okay, I'm going to use the bullet tip because it's a bit lighter, so I get better contrast. Depends on how much you've used your pens. Sometimes you might find that there's more ink at one end than the other, so you can get some of your darker markers looking actually lighter than the other ones. So just try them out on some scrap. I would recommend using the same surface that you're using. So this is the basic white cardstock, so try it on basic white because the colours can behave a little differently if you use a different medium. So try it out and just make sure you're getting the result you want from your markers, depending on how much you've used them. Okay, so we're just going to die cut this out. So I usually look to the top and the bottom, and then just make sure all the sides look like they've lined up, which they have. So we've just got to die cut the those two elements now, and because we're using the big boss, we can get those done in one pass. Each of the dies individually would go through the mini, but because we want to do multiple dies, the big boss is going to do that for us. And I've always got it set up there and ready to go. So we'll just push that out from the cardstock. Just make sure any of the little pieces there are just poked out. Okay, easy peasy. Like so. Get a really nice detailed die. Okay, so we'll put that to one side to sort out in a second. This one's got all these little holes in, so peel that away from the die. All of those have come out, there's nothing stuck in there, they're all stuck into the die. But of course we can tidy that up off camera when I'm finished making this with you guys. Okay, so there's our dies. Now what I did do was I had a stamping mishap, but what I'm actually going to do is layer these together, which will give this die cut a bit of extra strength. Because it's going to hang off that, even though it's not raised up on dimensionals, just the thickness of the cardstock is going to make it lift up from the card base just ever so slightly. So just strategically putting some glue along here. You don't want too much of it because you don't want it squidging out, but you don't want it separating either. Okay, and I actually find it's easier to lay the other one on top of the glue in the first instance, and then because it's wet glue, you've then got time to just make sure everything's lined up, and you can sort of pinch it together and make sure it's all lining up the way it should. Okay, and that can sit under a block or something to make sure that that gets all adhered. Got a tiny little piece of basic white here, which I've cut to fit in the middle here. There isn't really a die that I felt was the right size. The next one down also has holes in it, and I didn't really want that. You could use that, of course, if you wanted to, so that, you know, the choice is yours. So I've actually cut a plain piece of basic white to fit inside this, and it's a bit of a funny measurement. It's 2 3/4, but I ended up with a 1 5/16 for the width, so it is a bit of a funny one. But you know, if that's what you want to do, then go for it, or use another punch die or whatever that's in your stash. Okay, so again, I'm just going to try this ink, but like I say, while I'm trying it out, and what I'm doing is just testing it on paper first. So I just want to make sure that it's not going to be over inked. Okay, so just gently, only need to touch that ink pad really. Okay, and we can stamp that down. Okay, didn't do a great job of that, so we can rub out this notes to myself on how big this piece of cardstock is. Let's just rub that out. Use a good quality white rubber, should be fine. And we'll try that again and just press a little firmer. There we go. Lovely. So we're done with that now. Okay, and we can just adhere that onto our mossy meadow. Just using some Stampin' Seal for that. Excuse me. Oh, got to have a drink. 1 second. Oh dear me. Don't know what happened then. Okay, so we're going to pop this down onto the cardstock. Card base, I should say. A bit lower down, just so that we can get this foliage onto the card. I want it central though. Okay, so I wanted to account for this, but I also wanted to account for the fact that it's going to hang over that sentiment, so the whole thing has to come down a little bit, like so. Alright, so it's really nice and moody looking, this one is, isn't it? Okay, well, it's cool, it's nice though, right? It's rich. Good guy card. Because, you know, they make us feel better too. They make life better. Okay, so we'll pop that in there, just eyeballing these here, just to make sure that they're straight. And we'll just use a little bit of the wet glue onto this sort of central portion here. Oops. And just hover over that to make sure it's going to be where I want it to be, connecting with that sentiment but not overhanging it. Okay, so it's just that central portion that's doing that, and again you can leave it with a block over the top of it to help it set if you want to. Okay, that'll be fine for just for demonstration purposes. I think it'd be that's fine. And then you can put on some embellishments. So I use these neutral sequins. I might go with those again actually. I think the gold would look nice on those, wouldn't they? But obviously, you know, you do you, and embellish this as you wish. Okay, and it just brings a bit of brightness to what is otherwise quite a deep coloured card. But like I say, you know, I quite like these rich dark colours. Okay, so really simple today. Okay, just to do that, just a real simple card. Okay, this is the one with the Regals, crushed curry and old olive. This one is mossy meadow and blackberry bliss from the neutrals, but all intents and purposes are identical products there. Okay, I hope that's been helpful and you've enjoyed that. Of course, all the links in the description to all the products are there. You can take a quick look, and those links take you straight to my online store, so you can pop things in your basket and shop with me if you want. Yeah, that's it. Hope you're staying safe, take care, and I shall see you again soon. Bye bye.